Welcome to Chef and Guac, the podcast. I am your host, El Guaco, and it is with me my co-host, Chef Ty. How you doing today?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Hey, man, I'm doing good. Another day, another dollar, another little bit of change. But we are here. Football season, playoffs has been upon us, and it has been a wild ride. We'll be talking about that just in a minute. And also NBA season, you already know people still cooking, hooping it up. Ja out there playing like, you know what, MVP caliber, Lakers still questionable, you know what I mean? AD coming back. We're going to talk about all of this stuff. But first thing first, let's just get right into it. Last week, man, these games, man, and you caught a couple of these games too. I ain't gonna hold you. You got some of these games more than me. I ain't even gonna hold you because last week my picks, I only had one of them. I know two, because the first game we're gonna talk about Bengals and Titans. Bengals won 19-16 to stop the number one seed in the AFC to move on to the conference game against the Chiefs, man. Ty, how'd you feel about this game, man? Joe Burrow did it.
I was proved wrong. I didn't really think they were going to be able to take down this Titans team, and they did. I mean, last second field goal to win it, and straight like that. I mean, they did play a solid game, and I mean they are a solid team. I don't think they're going to be able to get past this Chiefs team at the end of the day, but they have a really solid young core, which I do like there. I mean, it's hard not to like them with a really good wide receiver and a really good quarterback to start with. And from there, you can really just kind of feel out the rest of the team pretty easily from there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're in a really good spot to looking forward for these next couple of years. And they're going to be a big problem for my Ravens going forward. I can see. So it'll definitely be interesting to see this team. Like I said, I don't think they're going to be able to beat the Chiefs. They don't have me that convinced by any means. But I think they'll be able to put up at least a good little fight and make it entertaining. And maybe not as entertaining as this last game versus the Bills, but it will be entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, look, last game, it was really, really good overall. Just those 3 interceptions really, really cost Tennessee that game. I mean, overall, it was a good game. Joe Burrow, commend that man right there. He is the next generation of quarterback play in terms of that, especially you all's whole division right there is really, really young, talented QBs. He is going to have a very good matchup, even though they did beat them, like this year, the Chiefs. So, I mean, anything is like possible, and I'm not counting out these like Bengals to go to the Super Bowl. I don't know. They're just having like this. It's just like one of those stories that like you can't really be that like mad for. I know that you are a Ravens fan, and this does hurt you more than just say anything. But I mean, in terms of football story, I mean, this is Joe Burrow's second year in the league. Last year, it did get cut short due to injury. But I mean, coming back now, I mean, he's looking like he's that number 1 overall pick, and I just gotta say that's the difference when you have a Ryan Tannehill or a Joe, Burrow in like one of these clutch, career-defining moments. Joe Burrow elevated it up, and all they're going to do now is just like stack up. Even if they don't win next week, they're going to just still stack up more and more pieces, and the Bengals is going to be something to really look forward to for the next, couple years, for the next foreseeable future. I feel like it.
Yeah, I definitely could feel that. Like I said, there'll definitely be a problem in the future. So we'll see.
They didn't win 2 playoff games. They haven't won a playoff game in, I believe, 16 years or something like that. Like, it's been a long time. I mean, it's like they finally won. They're on a hot streak. I just really do commend their coach too. Young guy, offensive minded. They really have a good overall, just like team organization, and that's what really, brings you up on that tier of like an NFL team of just like having that good ecosystem all around. Because that's just it.
Yeah. Speaking of getting over that playoff hump, you also have Matthew Stafford on the other half of the bracket over here getting off of his playoff hump after years and years in Detroit of just losing.
I know, and we'll talk about this right now then, man. LA Rams 30 to 27 on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. He literally held off. Tom Brady was so close to coming back in that game, but the Rams held off. They won. Field goal at the end. Send it off. Tom Brady's out. Man, how do you feel about this game? Matthew Stafford, yeah, a career-defining game for him because he had to, win this. Honestly, I mean, what do you think, Ty?
I mean, it was definitely, like you said, a career-defining game for him to finally just prove out here that, you could have done it this whole time and you were that guy this whole time. And really that organization was holding you back, sadly.
Yes, yes.
And you have the weapons, you have the defense there. I mean, now you're really in a position to win the Super Bowl. And I think they're probably the favorite, excluding the previous champs. Well, the Kansas City Chiefs, that is.
Well, overall, great game. I watched that game from start to finish, and I must say, Tom Brady was getting whooped. And that defense right there had it on. OBJ, he was having catches left and right. Matthew Stafford, I seen this man poise, hit the joint, boom, bam, running up. Like, hey, man, and Cam Akers coming back off of that injury, I mean, he looked like he needed to miss a step because, man, he was making a couple of steps right there. And overall, good game. And just like how you said, it is really like an organization's fault when, like, some of these quarterbacks do not succeed. You see right now what the Rams, are doing, and I just commend all of them. And if I had a Super Bowl favorite right now, it would be the Rams. I would love to see Matthew Stafford get a little bit of jewelry. I'll let us see Von Miller get another ring, hands down. I mean, like, he done helped us many years on the Broncos. So, I mean, like, it is what it is. OBJ, he could finally get another ring. Or I think
that's his first ring.
His first ring? Oh, yeah, because I think he got there the year after.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, man, I believe so. But, hey, finally get a ring. And it'll just be a good story. Sean McVay lost in the Super Bowl to Tom Brady to, overcome this, see if they can beat the 49ers, which is another incredible story this year too. Jimmy G's doing it, even though Jimmy G didn't really win that game for special teams. But anyway, sky is the limit for these Rams. They are out of the NFC, who I would want to see in the Super Bowl, win it all. I mean, it just was a good game,
Yes, I mean, like most of the games.
I mean, this was one of the best playoff weeks I have seen in a long time. Of just it can literally go either way. And I'm watching every game. And I'm just like, bro, like, shoot, man. If I thought last week with like Dallas and that was all crazy, this week now was even more crazier because I mean, it blew people's expectations. And the game that we're gonna go to next was like. It was like the coup d'etat, like the game of all games, because like in the last like minute and something, it scored like 25 points. I mean, we'll just move on to this right now. Bills and Chiefs. I mean, 42-36. I mean, this game was a duel of just quarterback, and just whoever had the ball at the end of the game was given that last chance. That was it, honestly. And the Chiefs luckily won the coin toss and. I mean, on that first drive, that was it, touchdown, and it was all over, man. Ty, what are your thoughts on this game, man? Like, this was the game of the week for me personally.
It was honestly crazy. Going into the game, people were talking about how great the Tampa Bay game was and how that was the game of the week. And then immediately after that, now we have this great game come up.
Yeah.
And what was crazy about this game is we were at one spot watching the game. It's 3 minutes left, and it's like 29 to 26. Mm-hmm. And then we leave to go to another spot. And when we get there, now the score is 33-30. And I'm just like, hold on, what happened in these whole 2 minutes that it took in between places?
Mm-hmm.
And, there's two great quarterbacks going back and forth and just scoring. And like you said, it came down to the last minute, whoever got the ball first, essentially in the overtime. And based on that, a lot of people definitely have been saying that they want to see the overtime rules changed.
Yeah.
And I want to hear what your thoughts are on that. Do you feel like the overtime rules should really change? Or do you feel like it is what it is? I mean, it's fair play.
So look, I'm going to just say this. This is what the ending of the Bills and the Chiefs game was the ending that everybody wanted for Tom Brady and the Rams. This was if as just like how you said, the game of the week was them at first, and then this game came through, and this was like this was the ending we were wanting this game. You know what I mean? And to see this quarterback play and just to see just the evolution of just like what it means, you know, to be a coach in this league, you got to be offensive minded, you know, like in this game, because if you notice, all of the last 4 coaches standing, they are all offensively driven coaches. That means that there's a lot of evolution going on the offensive side, but what's really going on defensively? So like we're gonna talk about coaches later, but like, do I believe that the overtime rules should be changed? Yeah, because I think that the way that this league is going, it's just being elevated more and more. And I do believe that, you know, it would be a cool idea, you know, in the playoffs only to have it where, you know, if you go down, score a touchdown to see if the other side can go, you know, to see if you know, just to see, you know, like some even more crazy stat driven games, even more crazier, you know, spectacular plays. It would only draw up even more revenue for the NFL, you know, honestly, really think about it. Because it's not like it's going to be 2 like crappy teams out there just like, you know, throwing it left and right, boom, 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 boom. And it's just like, all right, bro, I just want this game to end. But it's like, I mean, it could be some really high, you know, a competitive, you know, driven, and we could just see even more evolution of just like the defensive side too, of trying to be like, all right, how can we stop them, you know, before they can even get a chance to even come back. So it'll draw up even more complexity into the NFL, and just another layer. I first thought that wouldn't be too bad, you know. So you know, those are my thoughts personally.
Yeah,
if it is a touchdown, because I know it is if they go down there, you know, a field goal, the other team does like have a chance to, you know, in the game with it. But I mean, you know, it is what it is. But then again, I can't have some digressions of being like, well, I mean, you just play better, you know, defense stop them.
It's two sides of the ball. I mean,
there really is, but I mean,
there wasn't any defense played in the last 2 minutes of the game anyway. So
well, yeah, man, you're right. In that last minute, it was no defense at all. But I mean, either or, I mean, it is what it is. If you want to be, if it's for more defining, you know, moments, you know, and that's your reasoning by it, go ahead, by all means. But I mean, if it makes the game even more complex, yeah. But it is what it is. I just like to see good football all around. So, you know, it is what it is. And we'll tackle our last NFL game, which was kind of a crazy one too. 49ers beat the Packers 13-10. I mean, this was a game that was a little crippling to, I believe, Aaron Rodgers' legacy. I mean, all this hoopla, like this whole year, and then number 1 seed, NFC, you know, all you gotta do is just knock out the 49ers, but he has had a bad record against the 49ers. So it's just as history, it repeats itself. And I mean, special teams got the best of them. They blew it. And that's that. Ty, how do you feel about it, man?
Definitely a crazy loss for him. Honestly, I mean, it's not all on him either. I mean, as for anything, like you said, it's also organization driven sometimes.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I mean, it's in both of their hands really at this point. And it's gonna be interesting to see what happens going forward. If he decides whether he decides to just retire and leave it there, or if he decides to go to another team and see if he can prove himself somewhere else. And see, pretty much essentially do the same thing that Matthew Stafford is already doing at this point. And I mean, which would be crazy. I mean, I never really imagined seeing Aaron Rodgers be anywhere else. And honestly, I think they still should have won that game. I don't see a reason they should have really lost that game. But you know, it happens. At the end of the day, it does. It does. And you know, but I mean, it sets it up for definitely sets up the 49ers for a great opportunity here. I mean, if they can go ahead and knock off the Rams, that's a big challenge to go through, for one. And I mean, that just kind of gives you all the confidence having to go forward and potentially face the Chiefs. You know, unless you're facing the Bengals. Either way, I mean, you have a lot of confidence going into that Super Bowl matchup if you can take down this really hot Rams team right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, Jimmy G been balling, so I mean, we'll definitely see if he's able to pull it out next week. But you know, I personally still have the Rams winning it. But I mean, it should be a good game.
Yeah, right now with Jimmy G, it should be looking at this is my audition tape for my next team, because they have already committed to Trey Lance in the future. They have been vocal about it all year. I mean, this is just one of those moments, Jimmy G. Even if you don't get the job done, you play well and don't make this loss, you know, you the reason why they lost. You know, make it some other reason but you, because I do have the Rams winning next week. We can go on to, like next week's picks, 49ers, Rams. I got the Rams winning it probably about like 13 points. I feel like it's gonna be a good game, but like I feel as though it's that after the game I saw last week of the Rams, they were just playing on all cylinders. As long as they keep their turnovers down, that way there isn't no big epic comeback next week, I feel as though that the Rams have a clear shot at going to the Super Bowl this year. What about you, man?
You definitely can't give Jimmy G a chance with time on the clock. He is definitely like a Tom Brady kind of character. If you give him time on the clock with within one possession, you can pretty much can put them points in the system for it, because he was probably going to get it. Like you said, definitely be interesting to see what happens to him this offseason as well going forward. As like you said, they picked Trey Lance in the offseason last year, and Jimmy G's having another amazing run this year. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see. This NFL is really about to get shaken up, especially at the quarterback position. I mean, Deshaun Watson still has to find a home at this point. If he finds a home at this point, you have a lot of movement potentially between just Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy G alone, not to mention Tom Brady potentially retiring. Yeah, that's going to be that's going to shake up things.
There are so many. I don't even mean to cut you off. There are so many coaching vacancies this year. A lot of things going to be changing up. You can even see in the Bears organization. I mean, they have signed their new general manager, a young guy in there. I think it's gonna. This now, I feel as though is like that turn of a lot of young-minded, a lot of fresh, minds out there to really flip the script on a lot of these franchises out here, because there's so many different teams. I mean, Sean Payton literally stepped down this year from the Saints. That job was wide open. I mean, I'm pretty sure Jameis Winston may be their quarterback next year, but I mean, that don't mean that they're not going to shop for the future, So it's going to be a lot of different situations out there. I mean, you got the Broncos, you got your Raiders, Jacksonville needs a coach. I mean, if Tom Brady retires, I mean, Gronk isn't going to come back. I believe that Bruce Arians might just even, retire too. That's another question right there, because he did come out of retirement, team up with Tom Brady. These people, that's another different crazy decision over there. I mean, like Houston needs somebody over there. The Bears need a coach. There are so many different organizations out here, and it's like, what's going to happen? I'm excited to see this new regime of this used into the NFL. And I think that there's going to be even more records being broken, even more crazy things offensively and defensively. It's about to be a resurgence of just even more great football out there.
I mean, it definitely feels like a change of the tide in the league, with a lot of the old people going out. The last people that have been dominating for the past few decades, and Sean Payton and the Saints, and then Tom Brady. It'd be crazy if you even heard about Bill Belichick even getting close to retiring. I never even thought he'd retire.
Man, I think Bill going to still be here. I mean, it's a couple of those coaches that just going to still be around.
He's like the Greg Popovich of the NFL, essentially. He's kind of he's never retiring at this point.
Him and like Andy Reid is kind of like, hey man, I'm gonna just play my, I'm just playing to my heart's content type, situation. Even up there in Seattle, Russell Wilson might be looking at trying to go to a new place. Pete Carroll might not even be back with them. If them in the front office don't really have, if they don't meet eye to eye. So it's just a lot of different things changing in this league, and I'm glad to see. As you pointed out, like a couple of weeks ago, you just want a fresh face in the Super Bowl, and I think it's crazy because we might see Matthew Stafford in there, we might see Jimmy G, like in the Super Bowl against, again potentially against the Chiefs. So that could be another, 2 years just like off of making the Super Bowl. He could be right back in there. I mean, the Bengals could be in the Super Bowl. I mean, this is like crazy, and then Patrick Mahomes, he go win a Super Bowl. Been in the Super Bowl 3 years in a row. This is just crazy. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, he might be on like a LeBron James run of just like he just keeps getting to the final game. You know what I mean? And if he wins, he wins. If he don't, he don't. But like you cannot just the greatness that like we are seeing from him. So Ty, who do you see this week coming up winning between the Chiefs and the Bengals? Who do you have as your favorite?
I'm definitely going with the Chiefs, but I would be thoroughly shocked if the Bengals win.
Yeah.
But if they do, the storyline will be immaculate, especially for Joe Burrow at that quarterback position. His winning in general throughout his entire football career has been ridiculous, whether it was at Clemson or in high school or wherever, it's been ridiculous. So, I mean, if you were to just be like, oh, yeah, I came in the NFL 2 years and now I'm winning in the Super Bowl, it's a crazy storyline at the end of the day. So, I mean, if you could even somehow overcome that feat, it'd be crazy to see. Yeah. But, I mean, I definitely think they have, I think Patrick Mahomes and company can definitely just kind of wipe the ground with them and make it a quick, easy game and get up out of there into the Super Bowl next week.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it's crazy how two teams from both of our respective, divisions are playing in this big game, and we're just, I don't know, like, what I mean? It could be the Broncos versus Ravens, but I mean, I got the Chiefs winning, but as you've been saying all year, I want a fresh face, man. I want the Bengals, and the Bengals have beaten them this year. So I mean, I'm gonna just go with the upset, even though all my Madden Ultimate Team points are on the Chiefs. I'm gonna go with the Bengals, just cause I want to see a fresh face. Just cause it would just only mean that my camera would turn off. Let's say. Anyway, it would only mean that it would just add more to the legacy of Joe Burrow and then even push him up higher into the likes of Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes level. Because, as you said, this is a circling the tide of seeing like that last, regime of quarterbacks. I mean, Drew Brees retired last year. Tom Brady might go. Big Ben stepped down. Eli Manning retired a couple of years back. Aaron Rodgers has been questioning retirement. All these older great QBs, and then now it's like, who do we think about as like elite quarterback? Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. I mean, and that's pretty much it. I mean, everybody else is just kind of like, and if you had a generational talent, you would definitely replace them over there. I mean, if just like as you said, if Deshaun Watson can get his whole act together, he could be another one of those guys who would still come in and just really, really change a franchise. So we'll see. This year is winding down, and this is probably one of the better NFL years, because this like off season is going to be one of those crazy off seasons too, man. And like stuff's about to get all mixed up, but I can't wait. Next year's going to be even more exciting. I'm excited just to see like who my Broncos gonna hire, and if we get a quarterback, because that's what I'm waiting on.
Her next quarterback for Denver definitely be something to see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But that's going to conclude our NFL side of things. But you already know what time it is. Let me switch it over to my NBA mode because
yes, sir.
I've been doing it. I've been getting it done. I think they're on their sixth game that they're won. They've been immaculate this year, and I am just so happy. It's just been crazy. Let's see what's going on right now. Well. This just in look like right now Lakers are up on the Nets, but we'll see about that. Speaking of which, anyway, some news: LeBron James may be passing Kareem's all-time points either by earliest this year if he continues to do some crazy stats, or by at least next year. So quick take right before we go into any of this. Do you think that LeBron getting this milestone will push him over the MJ, LeBron, debate? Do you think that this has any weight to his GOAT tier status, or his like legacy in general?
I definitely feel as though if LeBron were to pass Kareem and he'd be number one, right? For the points and everything.
Yeah.
It would be kind of like how are you gonna say he's not the best at that point?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the argument that I've heard that made the most sense to me that kind of I can agree with, because I really don't like the debate regardless. Is that LeBron is better described as the best player of all time in the NBA, because he can do everything. He can be the best scorer of all time, and he can rebound, and he can pass, and he can play defense. He can do it all, literally. But MJ, 6-0, undefeated. He was kind of 3-3, at one time. So I mean, his definition of what he did kind of sounds more like greatness as opposed to just being the best of the best.
Yeah.
So I mean, somebody told me that explanation, and that sounded kind of different. Yeah. And I was like, that sounds a lot better. And I don't really like going into that argument of who's better between the two, because it's two different eras at the end of the day. No, they're both really great guys.
I've been pondering this a lot, and like I've always said, to me, LeBron, just because I've seen him more, like we got to see MJ on the Wizards, I mean,
barely even that,
barely, but I mean, even still, then it's just like, how you say it makes the most sense. I give them a 1A, 1B situation, because in terms of pure dominance, pure greatness on the floor, Michael Jeffrey Jordan is that guy. We're talking about most complete overall basketball player who can take you to the finals with literally nothing. LeBron James, you know what I mean? But it takes a team, it takes that right organization, as we were talking about earlier with the, like NFL, translates to any sport, is to have that, Phil Jackson, have that Scottie Pippen, have those Steve Kerrs and those Dennis Rodmans on your team to really make those, plays and to really cement your legacy overall. I think that Michael Jordan is one of the greatest, most dominating forces in the league, and LeBron James, in terms of basketball accolades, is the most accomplished in terms of like, this is my overall resume, like I've just done a little bit more, but like if you look at in terms of dominance, greatness in their era, I mean, MJ in the 90s, nobody was, stepping to him. You can make the debates here and there when he was older and, like younger. But I mean, if you were in terms of like a 10-year span, MJ was that dude, man. Even coming out of retirement, he still was that guy. I mean, who's to say that he wouldn't have won like 7 straight? I mean, 8 if they ain't, break the band altogether. You know what I mean? Like, who's to say like we just didn't get to see all those what ifs? You know what I mean? And so that's where it's kind of been, in terms of where like LeBron James has like been here for like X amount of years. It's just like, I mean, he should have these, like accolades because he is the, one of the best players in the league. He is the best player in the league. You know what I mean? So it's just like,
I mean,
apples to
and like
oranges.
he's currently playing like the best player in the league still at his age, which is even ridiculous. He's currently leading the league in scoring behind Owen Kevin Durant, who's only a half point above him. And Kevin Durant's not even playing.
I know, and that's what makes it so crazy. And that's what a lot of people this year too has been trying to say that LeBron James is just like at this point stat padding. I don't think that he is stat padding. I just think that, I mean, like AD's been out, Russ hasn't really been playing up to par. I just think that like, and he's been out too. So I mean, like it's just been them not like like healthy, and LeBron James is gonna give his heart, soul, mind, and body on that court each and every game. You know what I mean? He ain't gonna tap out on you. So I mean, I do know that he is playing with some type of vengeance, with a monkey on his back, because he is in LA. I mean, he is the one that did he's a guy that ultimately signed off on this Russell Westbrook trade and getting Melo and all these other pieces, So it's just kind of like, like, man, if I'm not balling out, like how can I, make these other guys accountable when it's like, yes, we are losing games, but it's like, man, I'm putting up 30. Why aren't you putting up at least 20? Give me 10, give me rebounds. I mean, we'll see. I mean, we see that they are, as of right now, as of recording this, they are up on the Nets, but we have seen them time to time again this year blow a couple leads or two. So I'm not surprised by anything.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, currently they're sitting around like the 8th seed right now in the standings.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're definitely looking like they'll probably end up being a playoff lock at the end of the day. Possibly, hopefully, if they can keep it up. But I mean, like you said, right now LeBron just has to kind of carry. And I mean, that just is what it is. But I mean, like you said, at the top of the conference, you got the Suns, and they're just balling right now. I mean, currently on a 7-game win streak, and just the only team with less than 10 losses in the league. So I mean, they're just it's clicking for them right now. I mean, you got CP, the point guard over there. How does it feel right now being the Suns fan?
Hey man, all I gotta say is I hate this false illusion of like success. This is all nice and all, and I'm soaking it in because man, it feels good to be you know what I mean. All year you can talk your shit, maybe like number one, D-Book doing his thing, CP3 out there and all, Bridges doing it for us. But I mean, as long as this equates to a championship with the ring, I'm good. I'm good. I'll be great because we were there last year and we got swindled. I mean, Giannis, Greek freak, played immaculate, and I can't hold nothing to him. This year I need D-Book. I need point guard to still be point guard when it matters most. So I mean, it's all fun and games now. I love it. I'm cheering, but I'm not gonna get my hopes too high. But if they do, make it repeat over here, man, I've been waiting my whole life for this moment. All those Nash years, man. All those years after them with Dragic and Bledsoe, man, and Brandon Knight and, Isaiah Thomas, and the Moore twins. Let's get this ring. Let's play good team basketball. And then I'll be hooting, hollering, we the best, we the best. DJ Khaled it up. But at this moment, I'm still glowing. It is good. But like I said, as long as this does translate into, postseason success, I don't care who's in our way. We need that ring this year. That's it. It's all or nothing right now at this moment.
I definitely feel you on that.
Hey, but
On
man,
the other side of things, on the Eastern Conference, it is a dogfight right now.
yep.
I
Oh,
mean, between the first seed and the sixth seed, the sixth seed is only 2.5 games behind the first.
I know.
So I mean, when you say a dogfight, I mean a literal dog. The Miami Heat, Chicago Bulls, and Brooklyn Nets are all pretty much tied in for first place right now.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. First of all, any of these, I don't even mean to cut you off. 4 through 10, I mean, really 4 through like 8, but like 4 through 10 could really go either or. If a team gets a winning streak or like a losing streak, literally all of this right here, playing tournament to those 4 is really pretty much jumbled up at that moment. I mean, it could really go either or.
I can definitely see some teams definitely switching around and it'll definitely be battling for positions towards the end of the year. Yeah. But I mean, you still do have some teams on the outside looking in, trying to get them 10th and 9th seeds in a playing tournament with the New York Knicks and Atlanta Hawks.
Hey,
they can turn things around, especially in the second half of the year.
Oh yeah,
it'll definitely be good for them. But I mean, I think the Hawks are definitely gonna need to make a trade at this trade deadline and definitely get some help for Trae Young, especially on the defensive side of the ball, which has been their biggest struggle this year.
Really, right now, the only teams that are pretty much out of a playoff contention is Orlando, Detroit, Pistons. All right. If the Hawks don't really turn it around by a couple weeks after that, like All-Star break, they're going to be out. Knicks probably going to be out, or the freaking Wizards. But overall, who's a lock? You got Miami, Chicago's going to be in there. Brooklyn's going to be in there. Milwaukee. I'll give y'all in there. I have a feeling y'all are already a dead shot lock. By the way, you guys are playing. I ain't going to hold you. And I got the 76ers too. Literally, the first 6.
Yeah, those top 6 seeds, I feel like are locks.
Those are pretty much our locks, honestly. And then literally, as it shows, anything from 7-12 down, those teams can generally pretty much, I feel safely saying that, I can see a Toronto not making it. I can see, Washington not making it. I mean,
I said the only team in them last 4 that would be shocking to see not make the play-in would be Boston right now. And that's just because of the talent that we know they have on that team. But I mean, outside of that, I mean, seeing any of those other 6 teams in the play-in tournament, like for me to honestly see any of those 6 teams in the play-in tournament, like one of them would have to have a significant injury for them to just slide down to the play-in. Because I don't think any of the other teams are going to be able to string enough wins together in order to overtake any of these teams long enough for them to mean anything.
The only thing that I might add is I got a sneaky suspicion that the Hornets could be a lock and not be a play. That's just the only team that I feel less confident of being a play in, but more of a play off, already locked. But like either way or not, I feel as though that they are securely locked in. I've loved their whole change this year. Bridges over there has been playing dynamite for them. Rozier, that was a nice addition. I believe that they did sign him to an extension this past off season. So I mean, they got some nice youth over there. This is what I like seeing, right now. It's that like tide, we see it with the NFL and we see it now with like the NBA. A lot of these younger cats out here are playing it up, and it's just good to see a nice refresher, a fresh talent, because it does get kind of stale to always see, LeBron James in the finals, because it's like, that story's already written, he's already here. I want to see what these other guys, can do. Let's see them break these records and have crazy stuff. So I mean, overall, the East this year is the most, I believe,
it's the most competitive it's been in a long time.
Honestly, and over here at the West, it's just kind of really like lackadaisical. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like the first 6 over here is pretty much, I mean, deadlock in itself. The only surprises really is just seeing that Portland dipped off this like bad, and Lakers and Clippers. But I mean, both of those are pretty much injury. The only outlier is really like Minnesota, but Anthony Edwards and stuff over there, he doing it. I mean, that's the only really crazy, thing, because it's like the past couple years, these have been the teams. Oh, I'm sorry, Memphis though, but like Memphis this year just playing astronomical. Ja is my MVP this year, so I mean, it's just set in stone. Pelicans, they not making the playoffs. I'd be shocked if they make the play-in. If they do, they're not making the playoff. I mean, Sacramento, as much as I like De'Aaron, Fox and them, they're not making the playoffs.
As long as I think De'Aaron Fox ain't gonna be a king at the end of this year.
That's how I feel too. As much as I like, Greg, Popovich, Spurs not making the playoffs this year. Houston definitely not. OKC definitely not. So it's just kind of what I'm really looking at more so is it's just how this Eastern Conference is going to be, because we can see the Bulls, man, in the fucking finals this year, man. In the freaking finals this year, we can see the Heat making a resurgence up there. We can see the Cavaliers. Anything can happen in these freaking playoffs. So it's just really a nice sight to see that we got some fresh, talent, some nice, good overall stories. Like some youth battles going on. Did you see Luka beat Ja and them the other day? So that was a good game.
I did hear about it. I didn't catch that game. I was working and everything, but I did hear about it. Another typical crazy Luka game, but like you said, I mean, definitely. I mean, I don't have Ja as my MVP at this very moment. Personally, I have Nikola Jokic as the MVP. The dude's been balling. I mean, a 40-point triple-double with a game-winning assist is a ridiculous feat. Yeah. But I mean, also his biggest thing, the thing that might make it that he wouldn't win it, is the wins. The team wins this year. I don't know that a 6 seed is really gonna get you the MVP award.
No.
But I mean, the team's dealing with injuries, so I mean, it's kind of hard to do. But I mean, by definition, he is definitely the MVP of the team, of that team, of the league at this point. Playing the best, putting up some of the best stats in the league, and doing this thing at the end of the day. So I mean, it'll definitely be interesting to see going forward. If he can help get this team in a higher seeding, he'll probably run away with the MVP award. But until then, it looks like it's up in the air. I mean, definitely it leaves the window open for one of those Derrick Rose kind of years where it's like that third year player can't win an MVP award. But it definitely leaves open for that to happen. So I mean, it'd be amazing to see. I mean, I'm rooting for Ja, and everything. Well, so I mean, I hope with that happening, what I hope would happen is this is my hope. Okay. I hope what would happen is Ja goes in and starts dominating towards the end of the season, and they came in and they take the second seed.
Yeah.
Zion comes back, and they start taking over, and they start winning games, getting the play-in tournament. Perfect timing. They get in and they, make that 7 seed in the playoffs. They even win their playoff games. So now you have the Ja versus Zion in the playoffs. MVP Ja versus the returning Zion. Yeah. I think it's just playoff writing at its best right there. Number 1 versus number 2.
Look, either way or not, I feel so that Ja winning this MVP will put a lot of pressure on Zion in general, because it's literally 1 and 2, and it's like, man, it's like, where you at, Zion? You was supposed to be that man. You was supposed to be the guy. We were supposed to be talking about MVPs and championships, all of this stuff. Look, I mean,
if he was playing, I think he probably could be an MVP conversation. Considering last year he was already averaging 20 easily.
Oh yeah.
I think this year, I think this year he probably could have come in and averaging about 25 on a winning team. I think the Pelicans would definitely be a lot better if they had him this year so far.
Yeah, look, I say Jokic is playing at an all-time level, but that seeding is going to get you. I feel as though it's that. You know what I mean? You can.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what will make it more of a clear lock for Ja is that right now he is 3. If they can get to 2, I'm not going to wish them to get 1 because what I
Yeah,
mean,
I
do
feel you. I
badly.
feel you.
But I mean, if you get to 2 and you playing like this, I mean, look, man, I don't care what type of season, stat wise that like you had. If it's not translating into winning basketball at its finest, then it's like, I mean, in the regular season, we're talking about regular season MVP. Who's the guy that I pushed your team and from a year to now, from last year, this year, I mean, man, I should have put money on this joint this year, man, because I got a feeling that Ja is gonna be MVP, man. I just got a feeling, man. I just got a feeling like this dude's playing ball, and I'm just happy to see it here, man. I'm just loving it, man. I just am because it's just giving even more of a challenge for D-Buck in there to really, really be like, all right, bet you could do this. What's what we about to do? You know what I mean? So it's just gonna give us more fuel. It's gonna give that young man even more fuel to continue to play excellent basketball, and we'll see what this season goes, man.
Definitely, bro. So there's definitely a lot more basketball to watch. All-Star Weekend coming up soon.
Oh, I know.
Definitely will be interesting to see who gets snubbed from the All-Star Weekend. I definitely want to see my Cavs with 2 picks this year. So hoping that Darius Garland and Jared Allen both get in. And if they don't,
man. I got at least Allen a lot.
Jared Allen,
Unless somebody else get like injured, yeah. Unless someone else get like injured, then I don't really think so.
But I do feel Darius Garland is playing good enough to warrant getting in the All-Star game. But I feel like you said, I mean, at this point, the thing playing in his favor is that the East is really tight right now. So I mean, by the time All-Star voting comes around, or I mean, the end of All-Star voting comes around, he could mess around and they could be in, my Cavs could be in a 1 or 2 seed, and that could definitely help the case of just getting 2 instead of just 1, and that could help his case at the end of the day. But there's a lot of talented guards in the league. What can you say? So I mean, being one of them, I mean, somebody's got to miss it. So I mean, we'll be here to talk about it when it comes around.
Look, it is just an achievement for a rookie to be in this discussion already for like an All-Star or not. So I mean, it's not no knock if he doesn't get it. Like you said,
I mean, Darren no rookie.
Oh no! I'm tripping.
It's
Mobley, my fault, man. I'm tripping. Either way or not, he's still young. He still got way more of a ceiling to go, and it's just a commendable to see that. I mean, like this is where at the end of this year, that's going to be his floor. Say, hey, at least being on All-Star, like next year All-Star. So that's just going to even push you guys further, even more of like, oh man, we're in the playoffs, man. Let's see, can we win a game or 2 this year, a round, you know what I mean? A series. Let's just see. And this is just literally piggyback on work and work up. So either way or not, you guys over there are one of those sneaky good teams over there, man.
I mean,
just everything's coming together.
Imagine it. I mean, if we get 2 All-Stars, and imagine if Mobley comes around and wins Rookie of the Year, you have 2 All-Stars and a Rookie of the Year on your team. That's a lot of confidence going into the playoffs. To mess around and win you a few games right there. Yep. So I mean, anything's possible.
It is, and that's just good overall. I mean, you could probably even land like a top-notch free agent in the next couple of years too. Being like, yo, we got a couple All-Stars and then Rookie of the Year. Hey, he could be an All-Star. I mean, this team can just even get better because now you guys are definitely in that phase of, all right, LeBron James left, we mourn over that. Let's start winning games. And Kevin Love off the bench for you guys are doing good too. I seen him made 20 points. had like 7 like rebounds or something, 6 threes or something that game. He was doing. I saw
it. 6 threes and all his shots were from the 3-point line the entire game.
Yeah, so I'm like, hey man, this team, what y'all have done is really, really good, and man, it's good to see some of these teams just like getting that juice back, getting that rejuvenation of like, yes, we're here, because the Cavs were for like 4 straight years like playoff.
It was a lot. This lottery.
And then yeah, so it was like success, and then but that's how you guys are. So it's just like, I mean, like right now,
especially after having LeBron, yeah.
Well,
that's just kind of how it is.
Hey, but you mean that's not bad though. I mean, it's not bad to have. You know what I mean?
Hey, I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, I like going from the top, getting a chip, and then coming back and rebuilding all the way to the top again. So I mean, hey, if we can take this team and rebuild it again to the top without a LeBron or without like a major star on this team, and just playing a lot of really good team basketball, that'd be amazing. But honestly, this year, regardless of what we do, is a huge improvement from last year being in the lottery with the top 3 pick. It's a huge improvement to go from that to a guaranteed playoff spot at this point, what we're all feeling like at this point. It's a huge improvement. So I'm happy with wherever we go. Even if we get bounced in the first round, I'm happy, So, y'all might make it, you got your Suns in the finals. I got my Cavs just making the playoffs. So we both happy.
Hey, man, look, every team has their own success chart of what they wish to accomplish this year. You guys making the playoffs is a step in the right direction, seriously, especially being like the 4th or 5th seed. I mean, honestly, that's not bad, especially in this East. A lot of these teams are just revving it up. I mean, and I already said I'm watching them in the East more than I'm watching on the West, because it seems like it's pretty much the West ain't the same no more, and the East is looking real good. Like the East is looking like they got all that fresh, young talent in there. So, hey man, we'll see. But anyway, this will conclude our podcast for today. You already know. Thank you everybody for joining in. Chef and Guac of the podcast. Next week, do this over again. You already know. Check out our other channels on our other make sure to check out all of our other content on our other channels. If you like cooking, video games, whatever, we got it. Links to all of those are going to be after this and in the description below. So thank you all. Appreciate it. And Chef and Guac the podcast.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know if y'all have some topics y'all want us to cover in the next podcast.
All right, yes, and we will be doing other different videos too. We just got a lot of good things moving on with our lives, and we're just going to try to make sure to give you all good quality content, man. So yeah,
we still just slowly growing. We just starting, so there's a lot of growth to be done.
Yep, new year, hey man, we're gonna have some fresh content.